You're here. Your main reason that you're here is for your smile. And we're going to take care of that.
How many times have we had patients come in and they got quotes from the U.S., and this is true, that you need $10,000 worth of work. They come in and we're like, you need a filling.
You need 7 or 8 root canals. You need 2.
Exactly. You shouldn't be asking people on Facebook what they think about your implant placement.
I've heard of Google doctors. These are Facebook doctors. But in medical, the more information, the better. The more, if you have digital x-rays, that's great. CAT scan, it's welcome, because we want to see your bone density.
Let me tell you this. So we've actually had master classes with all of our doctors and our root canal specialist. Some of us had the ability to go to trainings ourselves to Switzerland, to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic.
But they're focusing on the patients. They're focusing on being able to provide someone, not excuses, but with solutions. No excuses, but solutions. That should be a slogan, because it's exactly what we do here.
If you don't want to talk to the patient coordinator, let that patient coordinator arrange a Zoom call with the doctor so they can answer all your medical questions, right? When we say do your research, it's important, because guess what? If you come in and you listen to the little picker from down the hall that might know it all, maybe not know it all, you don't know what you're getting.
Ooh, you're on fire right now.
I am, because you know what?
Welcome back to Supremedental Podcast Studio.
Estos son podcasts, no chingaderas.
You can be anywhere else in the world right now, but you're here with us.
The level of mastery you have on dental work is extraordinary.
Do your research.
Perfect.
This is the podcast.
Welcome back to Supremedental Podcast Studio. You can be anywhere else in the world right now, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, this podcast was meant for you, our patients. My wife and I are the owners of Supreme Dental Clinic. Listen, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can hear all your favorite episodes. Today we have someone all the way from Indiana. How you doing, Ernesto?
Good, Frank. How are you?
Welcome back. Pretty good.
Happy to be back. I love the new upgrade you guys did to the podcast studio.
You like that?
I like it.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
I don't know when this is going to air, but I got my Team USA shirt on.
Happy 4th of July. That's big for our family. We love 4th of July.
We'll be spending it together. You'll be cooking dogs and I'll be eating them.
This is
You'll
true.
be cooking burgers and I'll be eating them too.
All day, every day.
I think it's a team effort.
It is.
1, 2, 3 team. But today we want to talk about, actually, I'm going to let you run the show. And what do you want to talk about? I know you have, you talk to many of our patients. You're one of our patients coordinators. And you have a lot of calls, a lot of conversations with a lot of our patients out there. And you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Thank you for letting me come on here. I'd like to talk about expectations, right? What to expect, where to get good resource information from, and maybe not doing so much that you start questioning everything, right? So, for example, there's a lot of Facebook groups out there, right, for all kinds of medical tourism, dental work, and things like that. And, it's not a bad place to kind of get a feeling for certain procedures or where you're going to and things like that. But you shouldn't be asking people on Facebook what they think about your implant placement.
I've heard of Google doctors. These are Facebook doctors.
There are Facebook doctors, just like there's Facebook lawyers, right? Joe Schmo on Facebook isn't going to know anything about an all-on-4, right? Unless there's a doctor, which on some of the groups there are doctors that will pipe up sometimes and give some advice. But be careful, because it's easy to become easily influenced by bad information, wrong information, right? So, and then you take that information and you show up to whatever clinic you go to with these false expectations, and not really educating yourself, and you're really kind of setting yourself up for failure, right? Because you didn't talk to the clinic directly, you didn't do a Zoom call, you didn't do anything except for go on Facebook and ask a bunch of people you don't know. Nothing against those groups, right? But there's another group that I think some of us from the patient coordinator groups are on. And
why do you think patients actually take advice from a group knowing that they're not dentists or doctors?
Because they're going to hear what they want to hear. They're going to hear that their teeth that are severely misaligned, full of cavities and everything's are great candidates for veneers, right? So that's my opinion, right? I think that they go on there because they're going to hear what they want to hear.
That's a big problem.
It is because there's a way to have good, tough conversations with the patient. It doesn't have to be tough, but it's all about educating. Hey, Mr. Smith, this is why you aren't a candidate for veneers. Your teeth are too misaligned. You have too many fillings, or you have all these things going on. So that's not going to be a good option for you. But zirconia crowns will be, your Emax crowns, right? And this is why. And I think all of us, from a patient coordinator standpoint, try really hard to convey that message to patients, because what's going to happen is they're going to show up and, hey, I'm here for my veneers, but they talk to Dr. Dulce or crowns with another doctor, and they're like, hey, you know what? You're not a candidate for that. No, but I know I am.
Yeah, because they question the doctor while they're here because Jobs Schmo told them they could get it.
Exactly. And are there places out there that will do things that they shouldn't be doing?
Are they order takers? Of course.
Of course, all day, every day.
Think about how easy it'd be. Somebody rolls up and says, hey, I want veneers. I want 20 veneers. Okay. Sit them down and you start working on them, and they pay you the money, and then they leave. Something happens, something goes wrong, which most likely it will, then you could blame the patient.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't take care of them. You probably were eating something you shouldn't. You're not having personal hygiene, whatever the situation might be, and then you as a patient are left with no money.
Exactly.
But a clinic that's been around for so long, a clinic that wants to keep on being around for a very long time, should do the right thing. And just like anything, not just dental, doctors, anything you should do your due diligence and not go off of what somebody else says. Ernesto, you and me, we've known each other for quite some time.
14 years.
If your toe hurts and you go on Google, it's going to say you have cancer or something.
Yes.
And you have 10 days to live.
Mm-hmm.
And you better hug your kids because you ain't going to go to no darn quinceañera, And then patients I talked about fear porn before. And then patients are like, oh my gosh. Or there's these groups that give these false expectations. And unfortunately give these patients a chance to believe on things that just because it works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me. If you're a Ford and I'm a Chevrolet, my parts are not going to fit yours. That in patients, unfortunately, want to believe what they want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we could do about that?
Well, what we can do is have those good conversations, have those Zoom calls with the doctors, because I'm sure there's people looking at this and they can say, well, you're just a patient coordinator. What do you know? Well,
You're just a clinic in Mexico. What do you know?
Exactly, right? Give me some bean and cheese burritos. Let me tell you this. So we've actually had master classes with all of our doctors and our root canal specialist. Some of us had the ability to go to trainings ourselves to Switzerland, to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, which we were just at a few months ago, to be around doctors and listen to the seminars. And obviously, from a patient coordinator standpoint, you're not going to grasp every detail, right? But you're going to get a good understanding of how things work. And so there's been times where people ask myself and Jessica, like, hey, are you the doctor? I'm not far from it. I just don't have to be dangerous, but I'm going to educate you the right way. What those conversations look like is like, hey, look, we'll take all on fours, for example, right? I had a patient email me a few days ago for a 6-unit bridge over natural teeth. Ask anyone, doesn't have to be Supreme. A 6-unit bridge over natural teeth is going to give. It's going to break, right? There's not enough support there. That's just a fact. That's a dental fact. And, I had the doctors take a look at his x-rays, and they came back with like, hey, man, this guy, we might be able to save some of his teeth, but for the long-term viable option, he needs an all-on-4. Well, I told him that, and he's like, why are you trying to sell me on implants? I told you I want a 6-unit bridge. And I said, hey, we always give 2 options. Yes, this is a 6-unit bridge supported by 3 or 4 implants, whatever the case is. But keep this in mind, we don't believe in patchwork, right? And so often, and we get a lot of feedback, which we welcome, when people come in and say, oh, well, you try to upsell me. No. Far from it. If you came in for 4 crowns or 6 crowns, right? we can do that. That's no problem. But you have to take things into consideration, like your bite, underbite, overbite. Do we have to open it? Do we have to close it? How are your teeth going to hit if we just do the 6 crowns? So in reality, we might be doing you an injustice if we just do the 6 crowns. So don't look at it from an upsell. Look at it from like, hey, what's going to make dental sense, right? And the doctor's going to have that conversation with you. So if you don't want to talk to the patient coordinator, let that patient coordinator arrange a Zoom call with the doctor so they can answer all your medical questions, right? With that being said, you know, on-site clinical consultation accompanied by a CT scan and x-rays should be every clinic's starting foundation for a successful treatment plan. I had a patient that came in, 3 months ago, and the clinic here in town did an all-on-4 without a CT scan, and they hit his nerves.
And now it's going to take him probably his entire lifetime to get recovered from that.
Yep.
So to me, in medical, there's no such thing as too much information. Me and you have been talking to certain people and we're like, get to the point. But in medical, the more information, the better. The more, if you have digital x-rays, that's great. CAT scan, it's welcome because we want to see your bone density. We don't just want to see a normal 3D x-ray. So the more information we have, the better decisions we're going to make. And going back on the bean and cheese, I feel like some of our patients sometimes walk in and they think that our dentists are going to be wearing sombreros and stuff like that.
With the mariachi band.
With the mariachi band, yeah. And they're like, let's drink some margaritas. You know, I never had a margarita in my life. You know, and it's just very mind-boggling to me that I'm thinking like, so you will listen on somebody on Facebook and then come question somebody who went to school for a long time that is telling you, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is what I can do, but I can't do this. And is literally letting you walk out. So they talk about, well, you're trying to upsell me. We're letting you walk out and no money is coming into our pockets because we know what you know. We know what you want is not going to work out. If they just stop a little bit and think, if they were just trying to take my money, wouldn't they at least take this money? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
And some patients are very mad at themselves because they let themselves go to that point that they have to pull out the last 6 teeth that they have.
Yeah, no, and you know, that's a very important thing you bring up, right? There's such an emotional aspect to this, right? So many times I get inquiries that, you know, hey man, I have my self-conscious is down. I don't want to be around anymore because of my teeth. I just got a really long letter from another patient the other day, and it does take a mental toll on you. And I don't want to say that I had that to that extent, but I was always a little self-conscious of my smile, right? I was always picking at my teeth. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Now I have some beautiful veneers. Thank you, Dr. Dulce, Emax veneers. And I love showing my smile. I get a bunch of compliments on my smile, right? But that is a big thing. So I think when your emotions and feelings are high, it's easy for your thought process to be clouded by things like I mentioned earlier. You're hearing what you want to hear, but you're hearing it from the wrong people. You know, how many times have we had patients come in and they got quotes from the U.S. And this is true that you need $10,000 worth of work. They come in and we're like, you need a filling.
You need 7 or 8 root canals. You need 2.
Exactly.
If we were trying to upsell them, we'd just do all of them.
Yeah. Are you sure about that? And like you said, you know, there's a lot of questioning, which we always say we're the underdog, right? And we welcome it.
Yeah.
We totally welcome it. But to a certain extent, it's like, hey, would you give the doctor back in the U.S. that you didn't want to pay all those thousands of dollars the same third degree? You know, would you ask him about where he studied? Ask him about his GPA and C's get degrees. You know what I'm saying? And when we tell patients we're the only clinic in Mexico with 10 international accreditations, it doesn't mean they're stickers that we bought from the store. These
we didn't?
We did not. Not Timu. They have to be earned. We have to submit case studies, right? They have to be earned. And so what that means is like, hey, we're holding ourselves to a very high standard. These entities are holding us to a high standard. All of our dentists being ADA international members, right? All those things is what you get with Supreme, and why it's so important to understand that, hey, look, it's not just a clinic in Mexico. It's, in my opinion, the best clinic in Mexico. Full-blown digital clinic, our own lab, the best technology from around the world. We can speak to every element of what we do, from our zirconia, almond gerbach, its purity, the megapaxels, the implants we use, Neo by Implant, shout out to Beanie, Strawman. And the fact that we have 3 doctors who can perform pterygoid implants and zygomatic implants, I think speaks volumes to their skill set. And they were trained by some of the top docs from around the world. Google it, YouTube it, research it. Dr. Juan Gonzalez and Dr. Vincent Camargo, right? And they go to these trainings and they see the skill set that they have. Dr. Luis was just at one about a week ago, right?
Dr. Luis, yeah.
And
Mexico City.
And he was talking about...
We'll post a picture of it.
Yeah, an instructor was talking about, oh, well, you can't do this and that. And Dr. Luis says, actually, you can, and this is how, And he pointed it out. And another doctor said, Dr. Luis is right. And... again, that speaks to their skill set. So when we say do your research, it's important because guess what? If you come in and you listen to the little picker from down the hall that might know it all, maybe not know it all, you don't know what you're getting.
Ooh, you're on fire right now.
I am. Because you know what? Their idea of an accreditation is some salsa on their tacos.
Taco topping.
That's not it, right? And think about it, folks. If a clinic is as prestigious as it says, as they say they are, right? If they know their product is solid, why would they move on their prices, right? And there's a business aspect to it. Like PBD says it best. Shout out PBD. Business is war, and in Los Algodones, it's very much a war, right? Like, hey, man. But we were up till 11 o'clock last night.
We were
at your house talking about what can we do better. What processes do we need to work on?
Business is war, man. We're always playing defense or offense. We're always having these crazy questions that you would normally not ask a dentist in the United States. Can I drink the water? There's bottled water. You can bring your own water if you want. Obviously, not even just questioning our doctors. It's just questioning everything. Questioning the hotel where they're staying at. That has nothing to do with us. We don't own the hotel. We're going to make sure you smile. We don't have a beautiful beach. We have a canal. I'll throw some dolphins in there. I don't know what you want. I mean, you're here. Your main reason that you're here is for your smile. And we're going to take care of that. Like you say, shout out to PBD. You beat me to it. But shout out to PBD, to Tom, to Vinny, to Adam. One thing that I really admire from these guys is that they have so many different people there. And they go back and forth with what they're saying. Everybody has a different point of view. But one thing that I admire that PBD said not too long ago was, I'm not afraid to say that I'm wrong. And allegedly, a lot of places say that they're just exactly like Supreme. Allegedly, accreditations don't really matter. Allegedly, and it makes no sense. But what does make sense is that I will let you guys know my opinion. My opinion is based off on the 10 international accreditations that we have. My opinion is based off that we've been on places that we've never paid, like the New York Times, HuffPost New York, ABC, NBC, ICI Canada. We stand behind our product. We have 17 years being here, and our doctors just last year went to 6 different parts around the world to be trained. That I'm not scared of saying I'm wrong if you decided to go somewhere else and you think they're better. But in my opinion, you're not going to find better. You're not going to find better technology and better type of dental procedures and a better staff that's willing to work with you and is backed up by SoFi and is backed up by United Medical Credit in Mexico. You're not. And in the United States, people that have these type of labs and have this type of talent, it's going to be at least 50 to 70% more expensive. But if you find somewhere in the United States that does the same work that we do, from pterygoids and zygomatic implants, which not even 2% of the dentists in the world can do, not even 1%, I'm sorry, then prove me wrong.
You say something that I like to repeat a lot is like, one thing you should ask yourself is like, why do all these other patients that have the ability to pay the big money in the U.S. still decide to come to us, like Jessica's patient from Big Bear? Josh Snow, biggest dental influencer in the world.
Shout out to Josh Snow, man.
What's up, Josh? Amanda, hello.
I mean, he's in like Cuomo and
living his best life.
Living his best life.
He's a very smart educated, self-made guy, very well spoken.
Really down to earth too.
Down to earth, man. I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, man, I've dealt with some other people on the A-list status, and not all of them are like that, but he's a super cool guy. And anyway, he could have gone anywhere. He could have taken Amanda to Beverly Hills, to anywhere she wanted to, right? But he worked with us. He talked to me. He met you and Aida, and you know, from that, a beautiful partnership blossomed, and she left with an amazing smile. You know, I don't think a guy that wants the best for his fiance, soon-to-be wife, would say, you know what, I can get it done in Turkey for half the price. He did his research and came here, brought her here. And, you know, Turkey being a name that gets thrown around a lot, you know, they're definitely going to come in a lot cheaper as far as price, right? Again, it goes back to doing research, because I've had one guy, he got 28 zirconia crowns, but guess what? A lot of his teeth needed fillings and root canals. They didn't do it, and his teeth got rotten and they fell out. That's sad. That's sad, right? Because you lead with price, and we get it, right? Like, if you saved up all your life, or if you came into some money, like, hey, my grandma passed away and I have $7,000, man, I can go to Turkey and get my brand new smile. That's a possibility, but what materials are they using?
Yeah, but to me, 50% is the patient's fault, because the patients are not doing the research, because the patients are just going based off of price. But the other 50% is the dentist, man. If you're doing prepping up crowns and you're not taking off, you said they need fillings. What you meant to say is they're not taking away all the cavities that they have.
Correct.
To clean it up. If you have a crown over a tooth that has cavity on it, it's worthless. If you need a root canal on a tooth and you just put the crown over it, it's worthless, because it's going to give them pain. And just as important it is for the patients to do the research, you know, in a perfect world, being a dentist means that you're going to focus on the patient, and that you're going to do what's best for the patient, not what's best for your pocket. But this comes with any medical field, you know, and our doctors don't stay extremely long hours, don't go on these crazy go to Brazil and then be back to work on Monday trainings, just to be able to say, I'm going to get more money in my pocket. Yeah, they're going to get more money in their pocket, because they can do a lot more things. And patients, when they come in, they're going to have all their options. But they're focusing on the patients. They're focusing on being able to provide someone, not excuses, but with solutions. No excuses, but solutions. That should be a slogan, because it's exactly what we do here.
Yeah, no. And, you know, you and Aida are not dentists. And there's never been a time where someone brought you a treatment plan and they're like, hey, Frank, what do you think? No, that's why you have an amazing staff to deal with, right?
I let them deal with it, yeah.
But you and Aida open yourselves up to say, hey, doctors, staff, what tools do you need to be better and more efficient at what you do? Hey, patient coordinators, what tools do you need to be better and efficient? Not take shortcuts, but what can we do to make Supreme better? And in the 14 years that I've known you, man, I remember next door when you were writing down receipts on paper, you had the few chairs, and, you know, we were sending people to take CT scans somewhere else. And, you know, then you grow and you grow and you add this layer, you add that layer, and you add this layer. Is there the business side of like, hey, is a plan to make more profit? Of course, right? But again, you're opening up the skill sets of your dentist and what we have to offer.
You're controlling the controllables. Like, big shout out to my wife. She watches all the podcasts. To my son, Franco, and to my daughter, Alondra. Believe it or not, sometimes we're driving back from Los Angeles or wherever we're driving back from, or we're flying back, and they're watching a podcast of me. And I'm just like, what do you want to know about implants for? You know, you're like 6, you're 11. But shout out to them. Look, we love to do what we do. We love to help patients. We love to make money. But to make money the right way, you have to help patients the right way. And we formed a team that is really hungry of growing. And we formed a team. We found, my job is to make sure that I coach you, or I'm there to back you up on the journey that you're going to take. But I need someone who wants to take the journey, because they put in the hours. You know, our specialists and all that. You guys put in your hours. A lot of patients say, a lot of people, not patients, but a lot of business owners have said, or dentists have said, hey, you know what? Oh man, you're the boss. Must be nice. Then why don't you do it?
Must be nice.
Go ahead and do it. You know what? What's holding you back? What's holding you back? I worry about, obviously, I'm not a dentist. I'm never going to touch someone's mouth, but I will do everything else besides that.
You're going to make sure that the people that do touch your patient's mouth are going to be the best. They have the best tools available to them, and that the end result is going to be the best.
And it's not always the easy. I mean, doing what's right, anybody knows that it's the hardest route.
Remember the opera singer?
What opera singer?
She wanted to come in and she told you to tell the dentist what to do.
Oh, yes.
And I think between her and her husband, it was going to be like $40,000 worth of work.
And I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. She wanted me to force my doctors to do something because that's what her doctor back in Scottsdale had told her. I think she was from Scottsdale.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What?
You could have easily said $40,000, cha-ching.
$40,000.
But
Just do it.
it wasn't the right thing.
And being in business for so long, you will know that you got to do things right. And even by doing things right, sometimes things still go wrong. But you did what was right.
Yeah. Dr. Elias and I were on a Zoom call with this guy who had major gum recession. I mean, down to his roots. And
You wanted veneers.
You wanted veneers?
Get
I swear to God, he wanted veneers. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, dude, I told you need an all-on 4. And the guy, he was an engineer from LA. He could not get away from, I can get veneers. I can get veneers. And 3 times on the call, and I finally, sent a side chat to Dr. Elias. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I set the expectation for an all-on 4. And, the conversation ended well, but, we just talked about the case. Again, people want to hear what they want to hear. And
Just imagine going to Wells Fargo. I want to withdraw $2 million, please. Sir, you only got $18, and I want to withdraw $2 million because that's what I got. Going back to, we were watching Candace. Shout out to Candace Owens. Also, my wife's a big fan of Candace Owens, but she's saying a lot of people, say things and say things and say things until they start to make you want to believe it. So, this cup is black. But if I keep on saying this cup is red, Thea says this cup is red, Dr. Luis says this cup is red, everybody starts saying this cup is red, a lot of times it would make that person say, well, that cup is kind of red. A lot of people think that by keeping saying the same thing over and over again, it's going to magically happen. And unfortunately, to some people, they get persuaded like that, right?
what do the guys on PBD say? Just because you're yelling doesn't make you right?
Just because you what?
Just because you're yelling doesn't make you right?
There you go. So, how many times have we heard people outside, we're the best. We're the best. We're the best. We offer you 10-year warranty. Well, why would I want a 10-year warranty if I'm going to keep on coming back? I want to get it done and I don't want to come back. So it's just to me, it's business is war. To me, dental or medical shouldn't be this way. I wish that everybody would be transparent. Kind of like a menu in a restaurant. This is what we offer. This is what we can do. And but unfortunately, there's dental clinics that do listen to the Google doctors, the Facebook doctors, the Instagram doctors, and then they get it done, and then all of a sudden, a disaster. And then they're like, well, Mexico did this. Those Mexicans are messing up my mouth.
They're Mexicans.
That's why Trump's taking them out with ice.
I know.
But they don't understand. No, I'm sorry, Einstein. You didn't do your research right. You went on to tell the doctor, and the doctor, pity on him or her. They did whatever you wanted them to do. But that's not going to happen here at Supreme.
No. And one thing that when it comes to dental tourism, what I've noticed is the minute something goes wrong, it's, I knew I made a mistake. Which is really unfortunate because you can go anywhere. The U.S., Turkey, Thailand, the Philippines, anything can go wrong. We are going to, even in the best controlled environment, Dr. Luis and Dr. Elias were talking about a case not too long ago where the guy was doing a world-renowned implantologist was doing a course, and they had a live person there, and he removed something and the implant failed. He's like, well, there you go. So it shows like things can happen, right? We're going to do our best. We're going to do our doctors are going to do their absolute best to make sure that it doesn't happen, which is also another part into like, hey man, it's important that you do your part too to take care of it, right? If you get the post-care instructions, follow them because that's going to help. And as far as doing the what's right for the patients, let's talk about that new package we just rolled out, right? Like, I don't want to get salesy, but people always ask, I want an all-inclusive experience. What about this? The whole bait and switch. I'm going to get there. You're going to, increase this price. Okay, look, you know what? So now Frank and Ada sat down and y'all came up with this amazing plan of all-on-4 package that includes your consultation, x-rays, CT scan, all of your extractions, bone grafts, immediate load healing dentures that are attached to your implants that offer faster healing, your
Less bone loss.
Your first visit stay at the hotel, the second visit stay, shuttle service, the VIP post and pre-care package, and now with the Botox masseter injections, everything, right? And as many implants as needed, standard implants for the top and bottom. So if you come in and you need 2 more, that price isn't going to fluctuate. Now, people are going to say, what's the catch?
What about the zirconia bar?
The zirconia bar.
What about the titanium bar? When you say the VIP service, what is that? That's IV treatment because you flew in from New York and you are dehydrated. What about the red light therapy, the LED therapy that you can Google yourself, and it's the only light that's approved by NASA that brings down inflammation by 30%. What about the
lymphatic drainage?
Lymphatic drainage. I mean, there's just so much, but people are going to say, what's the catch?
Yeah. And again, so that patient that I told you about, right, when I sent him the email and he's like, oh, I can get the same in Idaho. And I said, hey, do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Read the rest of my reply. If you can find a clinic in Idaho that can offer everything I just listed for the same price, I don't blame you for going to Idaho.
Of course.
And he comes back and says,
prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. And his reply was, is that for top and bottom? Yes, sir. The zirconia from Almond Gerbach, high purity, 1200 megapascal, titanium bars milled as a substrate, making the prosthesis lighter, right? And again, if you do your research, you'll find like, hey man, this isn't things we're just making up. Like, it's not a Play-Doh set we have in the lab. Let's see what we can, turn out. No, these are real things.
Stop saying our secrets.
I know, right? So anyway, it goes back to like, hey man, we're going to try to do what's best for you, make it make sense, make it a seamless experience, and make sure that you understand like, hey, when you came to see us, we gave you our absolute all, and we can speak to anything.
Hey, you know what? I want to give a big shout out to David from our lab. David, I'm going to call him David Lab Supreme. David, he just flew back from Austria, and we'll post a picture where he is with the CEO of Almond Gerbach, the number 1 zirconia in the world. They have the number 1 milling machine, the Matron, in the world, and we happen to have all those machines. But that's our guy right there, right next to this. They kind of look like that could be like his dad or his uncle. They kind of look alike.
I know.
It's kind of weird, but regardless, that's what we're doing. So once again, I say, just like PBD mentions in this podcast, is I'm not scared of being wrong, but prove me wrong. I'm not scared. Look, allegedly, the things that I'm saying to a lot of people are not right. To other dentists, you shouldn't get pterygoids because that is too risky. Well, is the person that is coming from, can that dentist perform it? Because 99.9% they can't. Why? And then why are they telling you it's dangerous? Because they can't do it. So if they can't beat it, they're going to talk smack about it. That's just what it is. Do your research. I'm not scared. I don't feel bad being wrong. It's perfectly fine. Actually, if I'm proven wrong, that's just going to give me more growth. We've been here for 17 years. And I promise you, it hasn't all been sunshine and lollipops. But I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with our doctors going around the world. I'm okay with having that chip on my shoulder and being the underdog all the time because we're in a country that's not the United States. I will prove it to you with technology. I will prove it to you with accreditations that we have more than in the United States a clinic does. We have them from over there. I will prove that to you through quality, through warranty. I will prove that to you, and I have no problem. I have no problem doing so. And also in that package comes, you're going to get professionally pictures done by Tejas here, professional before and after. And also, we're going to throw in a professionally done video by Tejas here, which with that comes, what's with that? Well, with that comes that you happen to have that life-changing moment forever to keep.
Yeah, one of my patients actually asked me for it because, like you said, it is a life-changing moment. How many videos do we already have where a patient, we hand them the mirror and they just break down in tears, or their significant others right there, right? And they just,
Or you look in the mirror and it breaks.
This is true.
Oh, this is you. We're talking about the page. I'm
whatever.
sorry. My bad. Keep on going.
But yeah, right. So again, we understand the emotional aspect, the feelings into it. Obviously, money's a big factor into it, but leave feeling good about your smile because it can be a life-changing. It will be a life-changing thing for a lot of people, right? And when you do the due diligence of researching and asking the right questions, I don't think you'll ever go wrong.
And it won't just be life-changing for you. It'll be life-changing to the people around you. Now you'll be able to smile around your kids. Smile at your wife. Yeah, we had the owner here of Ghost Pizza that he said he'd always smile, or in pictures. And people be like, why are you mad? Why are you mad? And there's a picture that, in particular, there's a picture where he came on the wedding and he's just like, and he looked super happy. That said, for the first time, that was a picture that he actually smiled in. He didn't hold back. It was like a big smile, and it looked great. And it gave him confidence. And we don't understand that. You have a beautiful smile. I'm gonna actually redo my smile, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just gonna be for aesthetics. I want it to be a little bit longer, a little bit better color, but there's nothing wrong with my teeth. And we don't understand what is not being able to smile, not being able to express what you feel inside, and that brings a lot of things. That brings you feeling confident to be able to find a significant other, to be able to speak in front of a crowd, to be able to get a better job, to be able to hold a conversation without thinking someone's looking at your teeth. How many times have we gone somewhere and somebody starts talking to you and they have really bad looking teeth and you're just like, please don't focus on the teeth. Please don't focus on the teeth. Or really bad smelling teeth. But it's not at the time anymore, I think, because of hygiene. I think it's because just of how damaged their teeth are. And we have a chance here to change that at 50 to 70% less than there is in the United States, but with 50 to 70% more technology and better warranty than 50 to 70% of the clinics in the United States. And shout out to the big dentists, shout out to Dan Hosklaw, to Dr. Sinal. I know our doctors are a big fan of him. Dr. Juan Gonzalez, Dr. Vanderlim, everybody in the above, our doctors have been there, either had trainings with them or been with trainings with them, around them. And they think they're great people, and they have great places in Texas and in other places, dental clinics. But Jeffrey Tobone, he's really, really good at what he does. He's into the lab portion, and he owns, I don't know how many clinics, I think like 7. But they can't beat us in the price because of so many different things that go in the United States. And for those people, actually, even Jeffrey has talked to me before about, hey, maybe I can send you some patients that I know I can't treat because they didn't get approved for as much. But I know you guys are going to do a great job. So that to me speaks volumes. It speaks so much that dentists throughout the best in the world, not just in the United States, are looking at what we do. Because of our doctors, obviously, because of also of the surroundings that they have, and because of the technology and because of the freedom. If they weren't making as much money, they wouldn't be able to travel to Brazil. Like if it's traveling down the block like every other month, they're getting the best possible. They're in the best possible surrounding, but obviously, more than 50% goes on them to be able to go to the next level.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that someone like Jeffrey Tabone, that gentleman from Vegas that was here last time to do the podcast,
Doug Green.
Doug Green.
Shout out to Doug.
Shout out to Doug. Josh Snow, all these other prominent business people wouldn't come on to do a podcast or go to a clinic and say those type of things.
Oh, absolutely.
To any old clinic.
Oh, Doug Green would never step. Doug Green would probably punch in the face.
Yeah, please don't punch us.
Please punch him.
You don't get to that level of business and success by just, saying yes to everyone, right? Nope. As I've learned, you have to be picky about the company you keep, your circle, right? Who you're surrounding yourself with, because you want to lift yourself up as much as possible, and you want to make sure that the people around you hold you accountable, right? If you're failing in one way or another, hey man, I need to bring it to your attention, right? Like, even if you're doing great things, but you're not executing here, this is where I need you to execute at, then you got to step up your game.
We have to let people know around us when they're not doing something right. And I am more than welcome to welcome anybody when I'm not doing something right. Definitely let me know, because that's what a team should do. I've had to fire people from my team that I believe are really nice people, but they were giving the tools, the trainings, everything to be great, but we have a bar, and they cannot cross that bar, and I'm not going to take away the best experience and the best work possible for our patients just because I think you're a cool guy.
Yeah, cool guys don't put out solid work, right? Like, that doesn't work like that. You can be a great guy all day, but if you're not meeting the standards of what the clinic has, then you have to reevaluate where you need to be, because at this season currently it's not working and it's impacting the patients, right? And that doesn't mean you wish anyone any ill. We wish the best. We hope everyone grows, right? You have to grow, but unfortunately you can't grow here at the expense of another patient's oral health.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to talk to before we leave? Any other thing you wanted to touch up on?
Let's see here, man. I feel like I can always go on for days here. No, I just shout out to my beautiful wife Jessica, my 5 beautiful kids. You
heard that right. He has 5 kids.
5 kids.
And counting.
Awesome patients like Laura Reed, Bryn Phillips, Mike Stabil, Jen Marcel, who's coming in July to do her 2nd stage. The list can go on. Jeff Olivetti, I've mentioned his name before. I feel like I develop a kind of a personal connection with these people. I consider it a blessing and a privilege to help guide them through this process, because I don't just look at it as like, oh, I took your phone call and email and I set up the appointment, adios amigo. No, it doesn't work like that. Jennifer Mann is also another awesome patient. She's always keeping tabs on us, asking how things are going, and because they come down, they make that connection with their doctors, with the staff, with myself, with whoever. And it is a privilege, man, because again, it's a life-changing event, and I get to be a part of it. So, like we say, do your research, ask the right questions. If you're going to jump on social media land, be mindful of the groups you join, And again, I understand that there's times where we want to hear what we want to hear, but there's facts, right? And so just keep that in mind.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Guys, you guys back at home, do your research, look us up, put us against anybody, and prove us. If you feel that we're saying something wrong, prove us wrong. We're not scared of that. We are more than happy to listen and explain to you why or why not. Believe me, if we could do miracles, we would do it. But I think we do great things to change people's smiles here day by day, and we have thousands of patients that could actually be able to testify on that. But my name is Frank Navarro. I'm here at Supreme Dental Podcast, powered by Supreme Dental. And just like Ernesto's smile with veneers, he looks like Sullivan. Keep on smiling.
Talking health, talking teeth. Supreme Dental, Supreme Dental, Supreme Dental. This the podcast.